Yeah,
So the last
yeah.
time I was talking to you, I was just after running the Open Autumn International cross country race in Abbottstown, and I was quite happy with how that well went. Happy with my race, how I ran, how I felt. Remember finishing the race, thinking if I had to run another lap, I could have done it no problem. The stamina was pretty good. Like I didn't really fatigue really badly. So all in all, I was happy. It's just my pace is not great, and that's the one thing that I'd like to be a little bit faster. I can maintain my speed, but I need to get a little bit faster and still be able to maintain that speed. So that's what I've been trying to do over the last couple of weeks. Now I've been doing over in Fairview Park. I've a lovely little pitch, this little 400-meter loop around it, and I start doing a couple of 800s. And I found when I did the first, I did 6 by 800 of a 90-second static recovery. So 800 meters at like sub 5k efforts. Um, 90 seconds static recovery then and do that 6 times. And the first time I went over to do it, I had it in my mind that I wanted to do four. And as I went through it, I said, yeah, I'll get four done. And then as I got the fourth one done, I said, okay, do the fifth, get a fifth one done, fantastic. And I ended up getting the six of them done, and I actually surprised myself. Now, going back to the pace again, pace is not great, but really even. I was able to do the last one as fast as I did the first one, and as the last couple of weeks gone by, I did another 6 by 800. It was the same thing again. Pace wasn't spectacular, but I was very very consistent. Um, but what I found was that when I'd finished the 800 meters, I recover pretty quickly. So I'm not kind of thinking I'm not running hard enough to get the heart and lungs to really get into the red zone. So I don't know, the legs just won't move fast enough. When I look at my cadence on my Garmin, it's telling me it's under 180, and when I'm running well, it'll be up around 185. So obviously my legs aren't turning over quick enough to get the pace going and what have you. So I decided then to try doing some 400s, which shorter recovery, harder effort. So did 12 400s off of a 45-second static recovery, and I did feel it a bit more when I was getting up around 7, 8, 9. I was starting to feel that lactate in the stomach and that little bit of discomfort in that the tummy was wanting to go both ways. I didn't feel great. Well, that you're not supposed to feel great when you're getting up to 8, 9, 10 400s off 45 seconds. But that kind of feeling like that, I was getting a real benefit from it. Um, doing them on a grass pitch, the turns are tight enough. Going to slow you down a little bit. A lot of leaves and stuff like that. So don't worry about that. Won't get too concerned about the pace yet. Um, if I was doing them on the track over in Ringsend, I'd probably be running a lot faster, and the dynamic would be quite different. But at the moment, what I'm really wanting to do is get an all body workout as well, because when you're running on soft ground, it's not just the heart and lungs and the legs that you're really going to use. You're going to use your core an awful lot to stabilize yourself. I'm wearing a pair of trail shoes. I'm wearing my Brooks Cascadias, which are not designed for running fast at all. So a lot of things against me. So I'm not overly concerned with the paces that I'm hitting, but I'm really happy with the fact that everything is really consistent. But I want to get into that real oxygen debt, get that deep breathe into the lung, and that real, burn, because that's what doing speed work and track sessions is all about. You shouldn't be finishing a rep and not being in a little bit of discomfort and looking at the watch and going, oh my God, there's 60 seconds gone already. Where did that minute go? That's where you need to be. And the last few, if you're doing 6 800s, the fifth and the sixth one, they're the money makers. If you're doing 400s, the last three or four of them, they're the money makers. Anyone can go out and do 4 800s. It's doing the last two. That's where you get the real benefit from doing speed work. Is dogging it out, finishing out the session. That's speed work for you, and that's what I'm trying to do at the moment to improve my overall speed. So I actually went down home there the other week, and I had planned to do my local park run. What a plonker. I normally would pack too much running gear, but this weekend I didn't pack any, and I'm down home, and the plan was to do a park run here in JFK Arboretum, but can't do it, so I've come out anyway, and I'm going to see the boss Catherine and see if she needs some help. So instead I met up with all the guys. I went out and I actually filmed the race, which turned out to be great because, funnily enough, the course record was broken that day by David Mann from Slaney Olympics, and fair play to him. But you know, I'd always say about situations like that, I wouldn't get upset over it. These things happen for a reason, in my opinion. Sometimes when you miss a training session or miss a run or whatever, forget about it. Move on. These things happen for a reason, and maybe sometimes you weren't meant to do it. You weren't. Next race, then we had the Leinster Senior Cross Country in Avondale House down in County Wicklow. Now, I had ran there. I searched back through results. I ran there, definitely raced there once before, and I'd been at races there watching them in previous years. The time I ran there, it was, the thing that struck me was it was quite dangerous, extremely hilly, like really steep hills, and was really soft day as well. So I remember they having to adjust the course for a race, and it would have been, I think, it would have been something like the Leinster Masters or Novice or something like that. It was Masters, and they had to adjust the course because it got so bad. It was getting quite dangerous. So, and I really need to get racing. I said, okay, look, I'll give it a go. It's only a training session. I'm not really going to be going there, going hell for leather. So, signed up for it, went down, ran the race. The time I raced there previously, I think I'd been a 6K race. This was 10K. And the course ended up being the same, but it wasn't one bit sloppy at all. The ground was absolutely perfect, even though it was extremely hilly. I had no issues at all with the underfoot conditions, with the turns, the twists and the turns. It was perfectly fine. It wasn't one bit dangerous on this day, and it worked out quite well. Now I did have a slight problem. I seem to get this thing on and off recently where my quads play up on me, and it always seems to be when I do a good bit of driving. So like I'd been down home that weekend, so driving around, driving down home to Wexford, driving back up to Wicklow. So it's obviously that sitting in the driving position in the car is just making me stiff and tight. Like, so I could feel my quads before the race giving me that niggle that has affected me recently in the last couple of months. And I was kind of worried, that it'd play up on me like it did in Aldgate, that I'd start and I'd just get sore and I'd have to stop. Like, but no, it was grand. I had no real issues during the race. I kind of felt that I was not really at the races. My pace, I was a little bit more so than usual recently. I was little bit disappointed with it, but it was the same thing again, extremely consistent. It was 5 2K laps, and I was plugging away, and it was hard because between lap 2 and lap 4, I was basically in no man's land. The people ahead of me were really far ahead of me, that I wasn't in contact with them, and same, there was no one coming behind me kind of challenging me. So that was kind of tough. But as I got near the end of the second last lap, I could see that I was making progress on a guy in front of me, and I kind of dug in for the last lap to see if I could catch him. As well as that, the leaders passed me about halfway through the last lap. Now there's no shame there, because like these guys are national standard runners. Like, you'd Daniel Stone from Raheny Shamrocks who won the race ahead of the great McCloskey, as you'll see on the channel. I had a chat with there actually the day before that race. But no shame at all. And they kind of perked me up when they came running. It kind of got me going a little bit more as well, and trying to catch that other runner. Unfortunately, I didn't catch him, as we got closer to the finish, he kind of put a spurt in and ended up maybe 20, 30 meters ahead of me. But it kind of got me focused for the last lap. But the same thing again as Abbottstown. I finished the race, and if they had said to me you have to run another lap, I could have done it no problem. Now the thing with cross country is normally when you finish the race, you're like, oh thank God I finished this, but those races, those last two races I've done, finished them, and okay, if I had to do another lap, I could have done it. Like, so that's a really good sign as well. My endurance, it's really telling me that my endurance is really good. It's just the same thing again, trying to get that pace going again. So that brings me to today. And tomorrow is the National Senior Cross Country. I've always wanted to run the National Senior Cross Country, and for whatever reason, here, there, whatever, I've never got the chance, or maybe I never really pushed myself to do it. And funnily enough, in my running career, um, the time I do go to run the national senior cross country is the time where I'm actually running probably my, not my worst, but my slowest. It's the slowest I've ever been since I started to run races. Um, but I'm trying to get back to where I'd like to be. So you have to push yourself. You have to do things that you don't really enjoy doing, like doing speed work and stuff like that, doing 10k cross country races. Like, you're not going to get better by sitting at home watching telly. Like, you have to get out there and do the hard work and hurt. You have to hurt. So 10k cross country in Santry Dements tomorrow. I've been at loads of different races in Santry over the years, from European cross country to Irish Life, BAHA cross country races, but I've never actually raced in Santry. But I know the ground up there very well. Now the weather's been very good this week, so I expect the going to be pretty good. Like, Santry is reclaimed land. It was marshland that was drained years ago and turned into a park. So if the weather is wet, it does turn into a complete bog. But it's been very dry in Dublin here this week, and so far this winter, or this autumn or fall, whatever you want to call it, we're mid to late November. Rain wise, it's been pretty good. Like, so I'd imagine even with all the kids races and then the lady senior and then our race, I still think it won't be too bad. I hope not. Fingers crossed. So tomorrow, my aim is not to come last. As you can see here in the Leinster Senior, myself and my good old sparring partner Brian Maher from Croken took off together. We said we'd go out easy and see what happens and try and reel people in. And I remember when we ran around maybe the first couple 100 meters, we kind of looked at each other and kind of looked back to see, and we were where we last, like, and we were pretty much nearly last, like, so tomorrow is going to be it's going to be different again. They're like, I didn't come last in the Leinster seniors. There was a few lads behind me in the end, but chances are I'll come last tomorrow. Like, it's a race. Everyone's going to be racing. If I come last, I don't care. I'm running the national senior. It's a thrill. It's an honour. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll give it a good go. I'll try my best to run faster. Unfortunately, instead of having 5 2k laps, which will give me a better chance of being unlapped for longer, it's 6 15 50 laps. So chances are I probably get lapped fairly early on, because the standard is going to be absolutely amazing. Like, if I can get into the probably end of the 4th lap, maybe a start of the 5th lap before I'm lapped, I'd be delighted. Like, but God knows. Like, I mean, some of the guys running tomorrow would have ran European cross country, ran in the Olympics, ran in World Championships. So no shame in it. Go out there, give it a lash. Another thing as well is I put it in the WhatsApp group in my own club to see if anyone else would run, and it's great. There's 3 other guys after signing up as well, so we actually have a team. I don't know, in the history of my own club, possibly back in the 80s, they might have had a team in the national senior, but in my own time in the club, we've never I don't know if you ever even had anyone run in the national senior. But it'll be a great day tomorrow for the club to get a team in the national senior, and we have a clatter of young lads running the underage races who will be challenging for national titles. So all in all, tomorrow's going to be a really exciting day for my club, United Striders. We'll talk about it tomorrow after the race. We'll have a look and we'll see how I get on, and we'll have a chat about it, and we'll have a bit of a laugh about it as well. But like, this is what we got to do, guys. We got to put ourselves out there. We got to put ourselves into a position that we don't feel comfortable in, and that's what makes us better, by doing different things in running that we might really want to do, that might hurt a bit more than, say, going run the 10k road race. That's the challenge. There you go, guys. Half of Santry Dements still left on my spikes. Now, I put 12mm spikes in the morning of the race. Didn't need to at all. I could have left the 9mm in, it would have been perfectly fine. There was guys racing it in Alpha Flies, super shoes in a cross-country race. Now, in fairness, the going was absolutely beautiful. Like, there was a very little muck on the course. The few little hills on the course weren't tough at all. It was actually really enjoyable running. There was only one little part where there was a small bit of muck, but it was fine, even after all the racing that had been on it throughout the day. But you guys wearing super shoes in a cross country race, good luck to you lads. So how did my own race go? I was really happy with how it all went. Everything is pretty much the same in regards. My endurance is really good. Same thing again, it was like 6 laps, about a mile for each lap, and ran the first one in 6:17. Obviously going to be a little bit faster at the start with everything taken off. Crazy mad. We can see me here, not exactly setting the world on fire and bringing up the rear, but I didn't come last. Wasn't far away from it, but I didn't come last. So I knocked out first mile in 6:17, and then I went out to 6:25, and then settled in really well and just knocked out consistent 6:30 laps, 6 minutes 30 a mile. The lap was more or less a mile, and then knocked out the last half mile about 6:24ish. Like, so picked it up a little bit for the finish. Pace now for me disappointing again, but it's improving slowly but surely. It's improving. I'm going in the right direction. The endurance is fantastic. Like, I didn't slow down at all once I settled in, just kept knocking them out. The hard thing for me was, for most of the race, like the race in Avondale in the Leinster Senior, I was in no man's land with no one really behind me pushing me, and the people in front of me kind of that bit far ahead for me to be, going, okay, I can catch this person. But as the race progressed and I got into the second last lap, I could see I was making progress at that stage, or rather, I was staying the same and the people in front of me were slowing down. So I was gaining on them, and I passed 2 or 3 guys in the last 2 laps. So that spurred me on to put in that effort at the end. It was great to be able to actually speed up near the end and have that in me, and knowing like that, like, I wasn't, same thing again, I could have ran another lap. If it had said, no, you have to go for another lap, no problem at all. I could have ran another lap at the same pace. I was starting to hurt all right. About halfway through the second last lap, I was starting to get that all over body pain, especially in my core. But in the last lap, even though I was pushing it on, like, I wasn't in bits. Like, you could see other guys in the head swaying and stuff like that. Like, when you see a lad's head swaying cross country, they're fighting the demons. But no, for me, like, it was amazing. Like, as you see here, it was like a scene from a Benny Hill show. Me being chased by the leaders. This was a slight disappointment for me in that I was hoping to get well into the 4th lap, or maybe even later into the 4th lap before I was lapped. But I didn't even get into I didn't even finish the 3rd lap. A little bit disappointing, but when you consider the going was absolutely amazing. Like, fantastic underfoot conditions. So the top guys are knocking out a serious pace, and it was it's hard to describe, but it was so cool when they did go by me. Like, if you can you think of any other sport where the best people in the country in the national championships, that you can be shoulder to shoulder with them, that you could actually nearly touch them, is no other sport, you know. It was kind of hard to describe, but kind of like an animalistic or caveman kind of thing to it. You're all running along, and these guys come along, and they go by you, and it's just amazing watching them, how they move, and you know, it's just deadly. So we arrived in plenty of time for the races. We got to see the end of the girls under 18s juniors, and then we saw the boys under 18s and juniors race as well. And it was kind of cool for me because there was a good gang of lads from my club running in the junior race. So they're all under 18s except for Adam. Adam is a junior, and congratulations to Miles Hewlett from my club, who was 8th overall in the under 18s. So great stuff for you, Miles. Then in the senior race, then in the ladies, you had Michelle Finn, who absolutely obliterated the field. She went out, led the race out at the start, and just took it on, and that was it. Stamped her authority all over the field. No one was in, I know, an arse's roar of her. Absolutely amazing performance from her, and congratulations to her. Now, the battle for the minor places was quite entertaining, but you couldn't not, you know, couldn't take it away from Michelle in the way she absolutely dominated the race. So congratulations to her. Then in the men's race, you had a slightly different story. Now, in the end, Hinko Tanosa and Darren McElhenney did destroy the field. Like, you know, they showed their pure class in the end, the way they took the field apart eventually. But there was a big group for most of the race at the lead of the field. But they were well ahead in the end. When it came to the business end of the race, the boys just took them apart. It was really only Paul O'Donnell and Emmett Jennings from DSD who were within, you know, anywhere near them, like, you know, really. DSD dominated the team event with Hinko winning, Paul O'Donnell third, and Emmett Jennings fourth. Super performance in DSD. Hinko, when I watched him race in Tallaght the week before in the 5K, it was very noticeable how smooth he was at the finish. The way he ran around the last lap of the track, he was so smooth. He ran like 14:03, and he really looked like he was running within himself, that he had a huge amount more in the tank. Dara is like a supreme all-round athlete as well. These guys, especially Dara, he can do it, you know, do it everywhere. So can Hinko, track, road, cross country. Like, these two guys were the guys that were tipped to win it, whether it was going to be 1-2 either way. And I'd say, like, on another day on a different course, maybe in slightly different conditions, it might have been Dara's day instead of Hinko's day. You know, like, McElhenney is a class athlete. Hinko is that little bit older, a couple of years older than Dara. So it'll be interesting to see Dara develop. He's a bit of a beast. He's a fine lump of a chap, like, and it'll be interesting to see how he develops. Because he won the under 23s, so he's still quite young. Hinko is in his mid-20s. Still plenty of time for him to even develop and get better as well. Now, congratulations to these guys for qualifying for the Eurocross. A big honour, I know, for Hinko. He was really looking forward to qualifying for Ireland so he could run for Ireland. Like, so congratulations to him. Congratulations to anyone who picked up either a medal, a team medal. I know a guy, former Crusader Shane Collins, now running for Leevale in that not so nice black and amber. I just don't like the black and amber for some reason. It doesn't suit you, Shane. Anyone who picked up a medal, whatever age group, the whole way up, congratulations to you. And thank you very much to everyone involved there Sunday for putting on such a great event. All the people from Clonliffe Harriers. It was like a festival atmosphere. All the way around, you had people cheering, and knowledgeable people. So even though I was carrying the sandbag at the back, like you'd have people going, come on, good stuff, well done, keep it going, because they really appreciate, the level that this race is at. So even though you're at the back of the field, they know that you know, you're still trying really hard, and they give you a really good cheer. And it was really nice, because real athletics people, real running people understand and appreciate that. And that's what you had there Sunday. You had a coming together of the people who love the sport. So it was a great atmosphere, loads of people to chat to about this, that, the other, all run and talk, which is great, But that was the National Senior Cross Country for me. I hope you had a great National Senior Cross Country as well. Okay, what have we got to look forward to going ahead? First of all, I'd really like to thank all of the new subscribers over the last couple of weeks. Since I've been able to get out and cover races, a lot of people have come on board and seem to be really appreciating what I'm doing. When you subscribe, that shows YouTube that you like what you see on the channel. So then they'll show it to more people. It'll help to grow the channel. The channel keeps growing. Me personally, I'm going to put more effort into getting out and covering races and interviewing people and making more of an effort with it, So I really appreciate the interest, guys. Thanks very much. Exciting for me now, next Saturday, unfortunately. We normally go on a Friday, but we're going on a Saturday this year. We're going to, me on Bankela and my daughter are going to Club La Santa in Lanzarote. We go there every year. Obviously, we didn't go there last year because of COVID. So this is the first time in nearly 2 years that we've been able to go. It's a warm weather training camp. They have everything. You'll see when I get there, because I'll make a few videos and let you have a look and see. Basically, it's a week of warm weather training. Cycling, if you want to. I don't really like cycling. Running, swimming, all that good stuff. It's going to be brilliant. Now, what they do have there is the International Running Challenge, which the first couple of times I went to Club La Santa, I did. It's 4 races in 4 days, and it's really great fun because they do it on time rather than place, and so you can be cute and kind of take the first 1 or 2 races, don't race them flat out, and then try and make up the time in the later races. So you start off with a 10k road race, then you have a 12k trail run, then you have a 5k beach race, and then you have a half marathon on the last day. So it's a bit of everything for everyone, and it's great fun. So there's normally a huge Irish contingent there every year. So what I'm really going to try and do is cover the 4 races on the 4 days and highlight the Irish in Club La Santa. So you have people from clubs. The club I train with here in Dublin Crusaders. You'll have Sportsworld, you have the North Harriers. I've seen people from MSB, Clonmel AC, Tullamore Harriers, a selection of clubs from around the country. So hopefully there'll be a good crowd of Irish out there, and we can cover those races for those guys in the beautiful surrounds of Lanzarote. And hopefully there'll be a couple of people we can have a chat with out there as well. You never know who you might bump into in a place like Club La Santa. So that's it for the moment. Thanks very much, guys, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. It's probably a bit long for a lot of you, but sure, look, if you're still listening now, fair play to you, and thanks very much. I hope your running is going really well. If you ran the Nationals this weekend, if you have any feedback, down in the comments, maybe we could get a conversation going about it. Anyone who has their county seniors coming up in the next couple of weeks, best of luck in those as well. So there you go, guys. Thanks very much, and we'll see you soon.